Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to show you a method of making this 4-patch right here really quick and really fast. Normally you take all these little tiny squares and you stitch each 2 squares together and then you stitch on more squares, and it really is very tedious. So we're going to eliminate a few steps so you can get it done a lot faster. Now, in order to do the 4-patch, you of course need 2 different fabrics. One could be a light, another one a dark, or 2 different prints that work well together. I'm using fat quarters for this demonstration, but they can be regular fabric off of the bolt. So if you're using fabric off of the bolt, just leave it folded with the selvage edges together and then lay your fabric out on the table. So I've got my 2 fat quarters here, and make sure you press the fabric because they're usually kind of wrinkled up by the time you open the package. So you always want to make sure that this starting edge is straight. So line your fabric up and then pull it past one of the lines on your cutting mat. Then take your ruler, and this works well if you're using a long ruler. Mine is a 8.5-inch wide ruler. I like this one the best, but you can also use a 6.5-inch wide ruler. The really narrow rulers I don't recommend for cutting long strips because they wobble all over the place. So I'm putting the lines on my ruler right on top of the lines on the cutting mat. Then I'm just going to cut this edge straight. Now you want to go over and cut your strips. You can cut your strips any width you like. Just make sure all of the strips are the same width, no matter which size you pick. I'm just going to go and use 2.5-inch wide strips. So I'm going to move my ruler over 2.5 inches. So I have the 1/2 inch mark right on top of the lines, and then cut. Now don't move your fabric. Just move your ruler over another 2.5 inches. Again, make sure your ruler is placed right on those lines on your ruler, are placed right on top of the lines on the cutting mat. And then you would do another cut. So you would keep doing that all the way across. Don't move the fabric, move the ruler, and cut. So here's some strips. So now you want to take the pretty sides of your strips, it's also called right side, and bring them to where the pretty sides face each other. And then line up your edges. I would put pins on those edges if you're not used to stitching that much. And then you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam all along this edge. And then after you're done, you always want to press the seam on the back side. I recommend that you have your darkest fabric on top, and then you're going to unfold this and press the seam on top, and you want the seam to go towards the darkest fabric. So as you're ironing, you want to gently push against this seam. So when you're done, it should look like this. Now I've placed this edge right here, this raw edge, on one of the lines on my cutting mat. I also want to cut this edge straight. So if it's crooked, then you want to take your ruler, make sure this end is pulled past one of your lines, take it and place it right on the line, and then cut this end straight. Now I'm going to cut 2.5 inch wide sections. So I'm going to take the 2.5 inch line and then place it on that edge right there. And make sure that you've got one of the lines on your ruler going right on top of that seam. This way you want to make sure everything is straight. If things are crooked, your 4-patch isn't going to come out so well. And then cut. Then you would take this away, place your 2.5 inch line on this ruler, and continue cutting until you've got them all done. So for each 4-patch, you make 2 like this, and then to have that little design, flip it. So now you have opposites in your fabrics. And then you're going to bring them on top of each other. Now the one thing that really helps make everything stitch smoothly when you've got seams crisscrossing each other is to make sure that the seam on the bottom is going in the opposite direction than the seam on front. So the bottom one is going towards my right, this top one's going towards my left. And you want to line it up, feel it in there. If it feels flat, then you've got it lined up. If it feels lumpy and bumpy, something's off. So you want to check it and make sure. I also recommend you put a pin on the seam to hold it in place, and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam along there. So I got it all stitched together. Again, press the seam on the back side. Pressing is a very important step in making quilts. Then open it up, and then you're going to press it again, but you want to make sure that the seam is all pressed in one direction. So if you want to make this pattern, either for a quilt, a table runner, a pillow, or any other project that you're making, you'll need to make 2 of these, and then you'll need to cut 2 additional squares. So because these should finish at 4.5 inches, then you want to cut the squares for the other sides 4.5 inches also. And then again, you would place them opposite like this and stitch them together. And another suggestion I have, if you want to just make something really fast doing this pattern, this is a great size for a large pot holder. So if you're interested in other beginners sewing projects, scroll down below your YouTube screen to the description section. When you see the word more, click on that, and that description section will expand open, and you will see other links appearing down below. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.